Okay, in this video we'll be looking at C1 January 2007 at Excel question 6-10. Now the first question, question 6, is asking you to expand 4 plus 3 root x squared. It tells you how it wants to be written, but also wants you to find the value of k. So a simple step of just expanding the bracket. When you expand 4 plus 3 root x, you'll get 4 times 4 is 16, 3 root x times 4 is 12 root x, 4 times 3 root x is another 12 root x, 3 times 3 is 9, and then root x times root x is x. When you add this up, simplify it, it will give you 16 plus 24 root x plus 9x, giving you your value of k, which will be 24. Right, part B is just asking you to integrate that now. Now since you've expanded the bracket, we can use that. But just bear in mind that 24 root x can be written as x to the power of a half, as shown here. So therefore just rewrite that in brackets because there's more than one element to it. So 16 plus 24 x to the power of a half plus 9x dx, and then we just integrate that, and that should give you 16x plus 24x over 3 to the power of 3 over 2 over 3 over 2 plus 9x squared over 2 plus c. So don't forget that plus c. Just bear in mind that you're just adding. So 16 will just give you 16x, 24x, a half plus 1, and then you divide by the new power. Alright, and then you got 9x squared and divided by the new power, and don't forget your plus c. I've simplified 24 over 3 over 2, so in other words all we're doing is dividing by 3 over 2. So I've simplified it here for you, so you know so you can see what we've done. And you just times it. Remember, when you divide in fractions, times it, flip these two over, so you're left with 48 over 3, which will give you 16x to the power of 3 over 2 plus 9x squared over 2 plus c. So that's your final answer for B. Right, moving on to question 7. And now question 7 has given you an equation, not the full equation, and it's giving you a point 2,1 which says lies on C. Now it's given you a differentiated 3x squared minus 6 minus 8x squared. It's telling you to find out f of x. So what do you think we do? We go back, because we've got the differentiated one here, we have to integrate to get our equation. So again, put this in your bracket. Now remember, x squared can be written as x to the power of minus 2, and it's better if you have it in this format as it will be easier for you to integrate. Now once you integrate that, you should get 3x cubed over 3, because we simply add 1 to our indice again and divide by the new power. Okay, minus 6 will give you 6x, and remember minus 2 plus 1 gives you minus 1, divided by minus 1 plus c. Again, when we simplify this, 3's cancel, and you get x cubed minus 6x plus 8 over x, because remember you got your two negatives here, so they'll cancel, making a plus, and leaving you with 8x to the power of minus 1, so that can be rewritten as 8 over x plus your c. Now we can't stop there, because it's asking you to find the equation. Alright, the previous question asked you to just find the equation, the integration of it. Okay, in this question we're asked to integrate. Okay, so that's why we left it as a plus c. And this one asks you to find the equation. Now, in order to find the value of c, they've already given you points 2 and 1. So in other words, when x is 2, y will equal 1 when you put those numbers in your equation. So put those values in, show it like this. F of 2 should equal 1, so you put down 1 here. Substitute your values into your equation. 2 cubed minus 6 times 2 plus 8 over 2. And when you solve all of this, you should get c will equal to 1. Right, going on to part B. And I start asking you to find an equation in the format y equals mx plus c. Now the first thing you have to realize is when you're trying to find an equation, in order to find the gradient, you differentiate, and they're giving you that. They're giving you that differentiated equation, which is here. Put your x value in, like I've done here. Right, so f, show it like this. So f in bracket f dash brackets 2 will equal 3 times 2 squared minus 6 minus 8 over 2 squared, and that should give you 4. Now this is the equation you need to be familiar with, is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. For your value of y1, you use what they're giving you, which was 1, and the value of x1 you use 2. The value of m we found out, which is 4 over here. So therefore, when you simplify this, multiply out the bracket, it is now in the format of y equals mx plus c, but in this case is a minus 7. Right, moving on to question 8. It's saying the curve C has equation y equals 4x plus 3x to the power of 3 over 2 minus 2x squared. Find an expression for dy dx. Again, you just now you're differentiating. So 4x will give you 4 plus 9x to the power of a half. Okay, so remember we're just timesing in C. So 3 over 2 times 3 will give you 9 over 2. You're taking away 1 from 3 over 2, which will give you half. And then 2 times 2, which is 4, so it just give you minus 4x. Okay, simple as that. Part B is now asking show that the point P for it lies on C. So you just substitute x equals 4 in equation 4x plus 3x to the power of 3 over 2 minus 2x squared, and what you should get is 8. So in other words, when you put 4 in here, if you end up with 8, that just shows that the point P for it lies on C. Okay, and make sure you explain that these 3 dots just means therefore P for it lies on C. Right, so in other words, I'll go through that again quickly. Substitute x equals 4 into your equation. If you get 8, you've just proven that it lies on C. Right, part C is saying to you, show that an equation of the normal. Now, I've left that so I can show you an equation to the normal. What you have to remember is vital that you know this. If you have a line going like this, the normal line is a straight line that forms a perpendicular, is going perpendicular towards this line here. So when we have the equation or gradient, should I say the gradient of a normal, we could say that m1, so gradient of one of these lines times m2, the product of them, when you times product, is always equal to minus 1. Okay, so bear that in mind when we're answering this question. So we're saying that show that an equation of the normal to C at the point P is 3y equals x plus 20. So again, they're asking you to show. Okay, so we go ahead down. Our final answer should be looking like this. So what we have is the equation of the normal at P is 3y equals x plus 20, and that's your equation. So therefore y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Okay, so once you've got that, you know your x value is 4, and we have to work out what our m value is. So therefore what we have to do, remember when you have to find out a gradient, you differentiate. Now you've already done that over here, so all I want you to do is when x equals 4, okay, so you put in your value there, so you got dy dx. Just show the examiner what you're doing. So it's going to be 4. We're going to solve in this equation here. Okay, once you solve that, let's get back to that question. Right, once you've solved that, you should be able to work out that 4 to the power of a half is root 4, which is 2. 9 times 2 is 18. And that should 18 divided by 2 will give you 9. So what I end up with is equal to 4 plus 9 minus 16. And all of that gives me minus 3. Now, so therefore the equation of the other line that we're working out, not the normal, the other line is minus 3, the gradient. So therefore the gradient of the norm remember m1 times your minus 3 will equal minus 1. So therefore you just take that across because we're timesing here, and that's minus 1 over minus 3, so that will just give you 1/3. So that's our gradient of the norm. Okay, so what we have to do now is work out our equation. Okay, so for that one, remember we use y minus y1. So in this case, will be we had our points 4, 8. So y1 is 8. Our gradient is 1/3, and your x1, which is 4. Right, now I need to simplify this. Remember where we're going, it says show. So we need to make sure we're heading towards that equation there, 3y equals x plus 20. Now what I can do, that should give me a hint as to what I'm trying to do with this. So times everything by 3. Right, so that'll give you 3y minus 24. And I'll just give you x minus 4. Alright, don't need those brackets there. And then what you want it in the format of 3y equals x plus 20. So if I take that minus 24 across, that will give me my x. Because minus 4 plus 24, that will give you x plus 20. And that's that question there. Okay, now it's asking you to, for part D, find the length of P and Q, giving your answer in a simplified third form. Okay, so I'll try and let's rub this one out. Now feel free to attempt this question and then come back and then see whether you found the answer. I'll give you a clue for this one. You will have to use Pythagoras. Now bear in mind that as you go further on in these exams, the questions do get longer and the marks do increase. Right, so part D is asking you to find the length PQ. Now, it's question D. So since 3y equals x plus 20, remember when y equals 0, okay, your x will equal minus 20, right? So in other words, you got 0 equals x plus 20, and if you take that 20 across, it becomes minus 20. So if we just draw this out, so you have a rough idea of what you're looking for. It's not to scale. Okay, you'll probably have a line like this. So let's just say that's your point Q. Okay, minus 20 and 0. And this is your point P. So this is point P at 4 and 8. So we have to find this length over here. Now the way we do it is that we just take away our coordinates. So the length P and Q, that will equal 4, which is coordinate here, x coordinate, minus 20. Square that, take it away, add it to, 8 minus 0, because that's your point 8 here, and that's your y coordinate there. And square that, and then we're just going to square root all of that. So once you remember, they want it in third form, and you're not allowed to use calculators in your C1 exam. So therefore that will equal 24 squared plus 8 squared. All of that square rooted, so that will equal 576 plus 64. Square root that, and therefore that gives you now almost there root 640 Now you should be able to realize that will be 64 times 10, and root 64 will give you 8, so that will just give you 8 root 10, and that will be your answer for question D, because they want it in the format in a simplified third form. Right, question 9. Anne has some sticks, they're all the same length, she arranges them, so you got your pattern there. This is your sequences question. Alright, probably best to know your formulas here as well. So I'll quickly run through this. So part A, you got the sequence of 4, 7 and 10, and it is asking you to find an expression in terms of n. Now you have to know this formula here. For the nth term you have a plus n minus 1 d. Okay, that's your formula that you'll have to know. A is being your first term, so in this case it will be 4. Alright, plus your n minus 1, so the number of sticks that you have, plus your d. Now your difference is, d stands for difference here is 3. Expand that bracket, so I've got 4 plus 3n minus 3, and 4 minus 3, if I just simplify that, 4 minus 3, that will give you 1 plus 3n. Alright, part B now is asking you to find the total number of sticks and uses in making these 10 rows. Now again, it's another formula that you have to use, which you should be familiar with, is n over 2, and then you'll have 2a plus n minus 1 times your difference. Now it's asking you for 10 these 10 rows. Yeah, the sum of sticks using 10 rows. So s over 10 will equal 10 over 2. Okay, and then you're timesing that by 4, because that's your first term. And your n, so we're using 10, and your difference is 3. Okay, so now if you simplify this, right, what you should end up with is sum of your S10 be 5 times 35, and then you should end up with 175. Okay, part C is asking you, and started with 1,756. Given that Anne continues the pattern to complete k rows, basically she doesn't have enough sticks. So what we're trying to say is that your sum of your k terms has to be less, because she hasn't got enough, less than 1,750. So what we have, it's the same formula that we use. So this terms we're going to use k, again your difference 2a plus your k minus 1, and then times your d, which is your 3, and all of this has to be less than 1,750. So it's an inequality in here as well. Now what I want to do is get rid of this 2, so therefore k will equal 8 plus, now if I expand that bracket it will be 3k minus 3, and that will be, because I'm timesing it by 2, 3,500. Now if I just simplify this, I will have a minus 3, which is 5, so that will give me 5k plus 3k squared, and all of this has to be less than 3,500. Now you should be able to see there's a quadratic being formed, so if I just take that back here and rearrange it so that it looks like a quadratic, minus 3,500. Now I want it in this format here, so I'm assuming that if I factorize, and you can check this later, it should be k If I factorize this, this will be the answer, and all of that is less than 0. Okay, so we've done that bit there. And D simply says it's a 2-mark question, find the value of k. Right, so we have 2 brackets, so therefore k will equal 100 over 3. Okay, k is equal to 103, or k plus 35 equals 100. Sorry, that will equal 0. Right, k plus 35 is equal to 0, and therefore k will equal to minus 35. Now we can't have minus 35 sticks, so therefore your answer will be, because 100 divided by 3 will be 33.3, so we'll just say k is equal to 33. That'll be your answer there. Right, finally the last question. Okay, it says on the same axis as sketching curves. Now again, it's asking you to sketch the curve for y equals x squared times x minus 2. Okay, so if you got y equals x squared times x minus 2, so what you have to work out is when y is 0, x will equal 2, or x will equal 0. Okay, so if you want to sketch this out, let's do over here. So if you want to sketch this out, you'll have your points here, because when y is 0, x is 0. Also when y is 0, x will equal 2, so let's say roughly that is 2. Put your point in. Alright, now remember it's a cubic, and it's a positive cubic, so my line starts from the bottom here. Okay, so you're going to have 2 curves, so your line comes from here, crosses here, and then we'll go back up, like that. So that's for the equation y equals x squared x minus 2. Right, the next one is saying on the same axis, so make sure you read that, y equals x, and you got 6 minus x. So now over here, when y is 0, x will equal 0, or x will equal 6. So again, you have the same point there, and x will equal, let's call that 6 over there. So it looks like you'll be going cross here. I'll be touching this one here. I'll do another color. So it looks like you'll be coming across here, and it will just be coming down at 6. So this one here is going to be y equals 6 minus x. Okay, and obviously don't forget to label your axes. Okay, and it says, indicating your sketches the coordinates. Right, I've done that over here. Right, use algebra to find the coordinates of the points when the graphs intersect. Now, wherever they intersect, just make sure you remember you make them equal to each other. Alright, so this is for part B. So you will have x squared x minus 2 will equal x times 6 minus x. If you multiply this out, you'll get x cubed minus 2x squared, and that will give you 6x minus x squared. If you simplify all of that, you'll have x cubed Let's take that across, so minus 2x squared plus x squared minus 6x all equals 0. Right, so therefore I've got my x squared minus 2x squared, so therefore will be x cubed minus x squared minus 6x equals 0. Now if I factorize this, they've all got x in common, and they give me x squared minus x minus 6. Now I can put that into two brackets, so x will equal x minus 3 and minus 3, and that'll be plus 2. That'll give me, if I add 2 to that, that'll give me minus 1, and that'll give me minus 6. That works. Okay, so therefore your values will be x will equal 0, or x will equal minus 3, and x will equal minus 2. Now you shouldn't have to do that. I'll just take any of the brackets, make sure you show it. I'm just taking those brackets, right? X minus 3 equals 0, so x will equal 3. Okay. Right, so continuing over here, let's go back to my red writing. We're almost there now, there's only a couple more minutes. So it's asking to find the coordinates, so you just sub the values in. So for example, I think this equation here will be easier to sub the values in. So when x equals 0, y will equal 0. When x is equal to 3, y will equal 6 minus 3 is 3 times 3, that will equal 9. Okay, and then when x is equal to minus 2, y will equal to minus 16. So what we can do is put your coordinates down so your graphs will intersect. So you can just put them in order if you want. So minus 2, minus 16, and coming up. So 3, no, it'll be 0, 0 in the middle. And it would then finally it'll be 3 and 9. Now we're all done. If you've watched this so far, feel free to just forward and rewind and take bits of that you want. You don't have to sit there watching the whole video. Okay, I will upload these solutions onto the website alevelssolutions.com, so you can review it there as well. And thanks for watching. Next paper we will maybe look into January 2008 or June 2007.